The organization remains one of the only accredited organizations by the VA to process disability claims. Often something that transitioning soft guys don't think about and often don't want to deal with. And it can be a very challenging process. I know for myself, I tried to do it myself. You get to 40%, and then you bring in an advocate, and they can get you to 90%. And then you came to the foundation and got to the 100%. And the reason I believe that program has been so important is because you've got to know how the process works. And the Green Beret Foundation has established these coordinators who are embedded with each of the Special Forces groups and are working diligently each day on behalf of the transitioning operators to get the benefits process going. How has that program evolved, and where's it going to better support the folks who are getting out?
You're right. And I love every opportunity I get to say this is to remove the myth of for whatever reason, some guys, and it's not just within our community, like the Special Forces community, this is across all branches of the military. You saw a lot of this in the Vietnam era. Guys did not pursue their disability, rating because they thought it meant more for their brothers that were really in need. And that is not the case. That's not how the federal government works. It's not like, hey, Fran, we're not going to give you your money. We're going to give more to this guy. That just doesn't happen, right? And so I always say when I have the opportunity, pursue that, because you may feel good right now because these guys out here, right? They're running around, they're working out, they're in the weight room, they're exercising, they're on active duty teams, they're in shape, and you may feel good the first couple of years of retirement, because they're still doing that. But 30 years from now, you are not going to feel like you feel at 40 or 35. And so how do you, fix that problem? To your point, there are lots of different ways you can pursue it. The most effective and efficient way, which was very much in the Green Beret ethos, is you work with an accredited VSO to advocate for you. What makes our program so special and how it's evolved is most of our teammates on that team are Green Berets themselves, so they've served, with most of the community, or there are spouses of Green Berets, or there are individuals who are highly specialized and trained because this is what they had chosen as their career. They know the operator, they served in some sort of a capacity, but they understand the trials and tribulations and the weight that you guys have carried on your shoulders, literally and figuratively. The evolution of the program, and hats off to John Armanzani and the early beginnings of this program when he started it with the vision, and then the board's vision to expand it, make sure we had guys at every group or gals at every group. And then in this next iteration, what we've started to do is we've started to take this foundation, which is in fact a global foundation, truly across the seas. So Danny Orozco, absolute legend in First Special Forces Group, was in Okinawa a couple of weeks ago working with those guys on their stuff. Brian out of the 10th group, headed to Germany in a couple of weeks. We are literally going to start going where guys are, so they do not have to wait until they get back stateside. So we are going to get ahead of the curve. We're going to get proactive on that approach. So it's a little bit easier. It takes a long time. There is nothing special about our program in the sense that it's going to cut your weight in half. It's not like that, right? We know there's no special red phone that we can pick up to call the VA and get it processed faster. But the more we are proactive on that approach, the better it is for the Green Beret, the better it is for their family, and quite frankly, the better it is for us. It is a program that is offered at no cost to the Green Beret. And I always like to demonstrate that commitment to our community because there are companies, entities out there that take a percentage of the first year's worth of disability from you. And I always say, as somebody who's just flabbergasted by that as a civilian, what right does that person have to any of that money? Nothing, right? Like, you go into this work because it is mission-driven work, not to make wealth or accumulate wealth for yourself on guys' disabilities claims. And I always like to point out too that those guys that charge money don't cut the wait time in half either. It's all going through. It's all going through at the same pace. And so come work with us. Like, we know how to advocate for you. And in the future, really the VSO program, in my opinion, and through our partner networks with the Wounded Warrior Project and some of the others that have, really highly respectable VSO programs, we want to demonstrate to the community at large, not just the Special Forces community, that there's a way to do this, and we can do it, and we can do it well, and we can get it set up for guys, so they're not looking for an appeal 20 years into retirement. So it is probably one of the largest areas of our mission that has a significant impact to the community's well-being. And that's for every, I would want to draw attention to this. That's for every Green Beret. That's not just for the guys that are getting out. So if you're a Green Beret and you got out 30 years ago and you think you should have 100% disability rating, drop us a line at info@greenberetfoundation.org. Reach out to us. We will look at your rating. We will look at your service record, and we will advocate for you if you believe that you deserve more. And we will fight for that back pay. And we have been incredibly successful in that fight.